Well, it's 4:44 again, and good morning. I think I'm just going to jump right in today. The title that I've selected is Unacknowledged Emotions Demand Attention in 2012. And my blurb is especially in the Western world, there is a culture of denial. Of course, it shows up in the official enterprises of corporate government and media. However, that only reflects the tendency of many in the population to escape certain realities that are uncomfortable. I agree. Some emotions are not the ones I would prefer to feel. Yet, if I choose to be honest with myself, and I do, I have to admit that the overwhelming feeling present with me is sadness. There are simply too many areas I can see and feel where injustice still prevails. Yet there is a message coming through that only the ego sees injustice. Is this true? It's sort of humorous because after I had written that, and just actually a few minutes ago, I'm clicking on, I went to Yahoo, which is one of the websites that I keep up on my computer pretty much all the time. And there coming across the screen, it has this title, Facebook, Friends' Happy Pictures Make You Sad. And they did a survey at the University of Utah Valley University. And it says that photos generally depict people smiling and cheerful people having good times, conveying a sense of happiness. Of course, everyone likes to smile to the camera, so that good cheer may be inflated or false. As others view the photos, they may believe this conveyed sense of intense happiness is real, making them think their friends are much happier than they are. And there's an insanity in just comparing ourselves with anybody because we all feel what we feel. And as I was reflecting on feelings here prior to pushing the go button on the camera, uh, I realized that generally when I am happiest are the times that I have a sense of well-being and a sense of knowing what the future holds. When I don't think I have the future figured out, I tend to be more sad than happy. I tend to be more melancholy, more introspective, and I've certainly been going through that a lot lately, especially, of course, with the fact that I still don't know what's going to happen on February the 15th when they claim that they're going to sell my house out from under me, which has no mortgage on it, never had a mortgage on it, never had a foreclosure proceeding, and yet they're calling it a foreclosure sale, and there's never even been a foreclosure. And yes, I'm going to get those paperwork that I filed with the court posted on my website as I promised, which I haven't done yet. But I did get a new scanner in a couple of days ago, and I'm going to scan those images into the computer so that everybody can see them. But in any case, I held the globe in my hand this morning in meditation, as I do many days, because one of my very, very, very good friends locally sent me a cause for some of the native indigenous tribes in Mexico that are apparently being abused. And this is going on all over the world, where some of the poor people, the indigenous people and otherwise, are being greatly abused by those holding authority and power. And it's interesting, I said in the blurb that especially in the Western world, there's a culture of denial. I have friends that visited India recently, for example, and have visited India in the past. And I've heard this from others that have visited third world countries, if you will. Although India is hopefully becoming more of a first world country. I don't know how that works. I don't know how they rate that, but India is prospering to some degree, although there's still a lot of poverty there. But the point that I'm making is the reports that come back to me is that they tend to have the idea that people that don't have anything have a lot of happiness, which is an irony because in the Western culture we have the attitude of we deserve more. And we do not accept what is. We want to always be pushing to get more and more and more, and that's materialism, of course. But is there, and I didn't even think of this when I'm going into this, is there something to be said for this insatiable attitude of never being satisfied that drives us to greater creativity and yet puts us into a place of greater sadness because we never feel like we've quite gotten to where we want to be. And so it creates a sense sometimes of overwhelming sadness. And there are days and times within a day that, I mean, I have that sense. Now I am very, very aware that I tap in regularly to the collective unconscious of humanity. I mean, I know that I do that. I've known that for a long time. And I do think that the human race here in 2012 is especially sad because from some people's perspective, they think their whole world is collapsing, and it is. The haves, the 1%, and the people that have been in control see that control slipping. They're trying to pretend it's not real, that it's not slipping out of their grasp, but they know better. Intuitively and at a deep level of their being, they know better. They know they can't hold on to this unsustainable greed and unsustainable culture of take, and don't worry about who you're taking from. Don't worry about how much it hurts those others. Well, that attitude is not going to be able to continue in 2012. It may continue for a while yet, and probably will. And as we discussed at the Spiritual Enlightenment Circle last night, Spiritual Enlightenment Group, once a year, usually earlier in the year, but this time it was last night, we discuss our predictions for the future, and we go back and we read the predictions that we made the previous year. And we usually do that actually in January and July. We revise it in July. One of the things that we all have the sense of is that there are going to be very significant changes in 2012. And I think the whole world is feeling that, and this is some of the discomfort. But we don't know how it's going to play out. And when we don't know how something is going to play out, there is a certain anxiety about that. I know it's not living in the moment. I know it's not in the here and now, because in the here and now, we're okay. You know, I'm okay. Everything is going normal for me right now in the here and now. But there is a cloud that's been hanging over me for the whole time I've lived in this house because of the lawsuit, because I've known that people are trying to take my house away from me. And this has been going on for 6.5 years now. This has been happening almost exactly 6.5 years, the 26th of July in 2005. Since then, this has been going on. And that sense of not knowing makes me sad. And when I think I've got the answers and got it figured out, I am buoyed, uplifted, in other words, by the feeling that it's under control. But yet I realize in reality, nothing is really under control. It's only the illusion of being in control. And so what's happening in my life is part of the collective unconsciousness of the mass of humanity on this planet right now. All sorts of emotions are present, and we're having to deal with them. Good. We're having to deal with those emotions any way that we can. And some people are choosing to try to hide from them and drug them out, or or just pursue pleasure or whatever and try to drown out the negative emotions. But they're not going to be drowned out, because what we're being given the opportunity for in 2012, and it's been going on actually. Last year it was going on, and this year it's accelerating from where it was last year. But we're being given the opportunity to explore and examine ourselves in more detail, in more honesty than we've ever had before. And this is happening. I think this is part of the collective. This isn't just me. I think this is going on all over, certainly in the Western world, but I suspect it's going on all over the planet, even in the third world countries, as people deal with negative emotions, things that are not pleasant to deal with, but we're having to deal with it because our shadow issues are coming up, and the shadow is where we've buried all of this negativity, and it's coming up in the news, and we're aware of all of the injustices, as I said in the blurb. We're focused on that. Now I think that's a good thing. I mean, I know the positive mental attitude people don't think it's a good thing. I think that they think you've got to try your best to keep turning your mind to what is positive. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. And there's some truth in that. I'm not saying there's no truth in it. But it's very, very bad from my perspective to be in denial. Denial is one of the worst negative states that you can be in, because you're refusing to look at the circumstances, the reality of the circumstances that you've created, which I believe we've always created them as our teacher. It's to teach us something. It's to show us something deeper. It's to almost force us further down into the rabbit hole, and we don't want to go. We resist that. And I do too. How do I know these things? Because I experience them. It's not something I read in a book. It's something that I personally experience, because I have chosen for a long time to explore my own shadow, to delve into the deeper parts of me, the depth psychology and the deep spirituality, and look at them honestly and own them. It's all mine. If I'm feeling it, if I'm seeing it, it's all mine. I don't try to get away from it, although sometimes I do. Sometimes I'd like to try to get away from it. So I know that there's a tendency to want to escape the negative feeling, the negative situation. I know that. And I'm not putting anybody down. What you feel is what you feel. If anything, I want to validate the fact that you're going through this. If you're feeling like you're supposed to be up all the time and you're supposed to be happy, get over it. That's not the way it is. That's not human life. Human life has an ebb and flow. It's the tide comes in, the tide goes out. There's ups and there's downs. It's like a roller coaster ride. It is just a ride, but it's a ride that has meaning. It's a ride that is going somewhere. Where is it going? It's going to create a new humanity. And in 2012 and in this generation, actually, the period of time, this 50 to 100-year period that started in my lifetime. I was born in 1946. So what am I? I'm 65, of course. This period that we're living in is a period where everything is accentuated. My whole life has been like that. But of course, I've been one that's chosen to pay attention. And there's been times that I haven't paid as close of attention as I do now. But 2012, it's all coming together. And so if you're feeling an uncertainty, a sadness, welcome to the club. I understand. I'm with you. Yes, I'm feeling tired a lot. I didn't want to get out of bed this morning. And there's been a couple of other mornings recently that it was really hard for me to put my feet out over the edge of the bed and get up and walk down the hall first to the kitchen to get my drink of water, and then to the meditation room to sit and hold the globe or stare at the candles or whatever I choose to do in meditation. It's not always the same. But it was hard because I've been tired, and I did not get the nap that I wanted yesterday. I was really busy yesterday, answering emails and doing the metagroups, and then I was all ready to start on another project, and I got a telephone call to go help friends who had broken down on I-95, had their tires separated, and they didn't have a jack to change the tire. And so I went and helped change the tire up on I-95, several miles north of here. Anyway, I didn't get my nap. And so I was especially tired last night and especially tired still this morning. And I probably will try to go back to sleep here after I finish all the processing of the video. But in any case, if you're going through these things, don't think that everybody has it up on a mountaintop, because everybody doesn't. We all experience, and it's normal as humans to experience these highs and lows, the emotional mountaintop and the emotional valley. It's normal to go through that. And it's accentuated, especially in this time of quantum change that we're living in, when we do not know how everything is going to pan out. We do not know the process that's going to take place in the future. And that uncertainty of the future impacts the present. And you don't beat yourself up if you're letting that happen. You're not letting that happen. That is the nature of being human in the world. We do pay attention to what's been and what we expect will be. And both of those, the future and the past, are in the now, because it's all merging. And so whatever you feel, you feel. I validate you. I send you love and understanding. I understand the travail and the things that you're going through. But please know that it's going to be ultimately okay, and that Earth is giving birth to a new humanity. That's what's happening in 2012. By the end of this year, there's going to be so many changes. Our heads are going to be spinning, but actually we're going to be dancing with joy. In 2013, I think it's going to be a jubilant year. I don't think that's going to happen this year, not until toward the second half of the year anyway. But I believe it will happen. But there's going to be a lot of turmoil and a lot of upheaval going on in people's personal lives and collectively as this year progresses. So anyway, that's my take, and that's where I am today. And I feel better now that this is over. Thank you for listening. And may you be blessed all day today, knowing that good is going to be coming out of all this that we're experiencing together. Namaste.